Rass, what up, dog? Little video data report. Let's dive deep, all right? So here we go. I looked at your last three starts. July 9th, Cincy. July 14th, Boston. July 22nd, Kansas City. Innings, 4 in Cincy, 6 in Boston, 5 in KC. Runs, 0 in Cincy, 3 in Boston, 1 in KC. Great. Boston, you were home, which makes to my next move. So more of the story here is I wanted to look into, kind of how can we optimize each start day? How can we kind of optimize overall your wellness? And I found that in that start day, and I'll send you a couple pictures, that day, the 14th, when you pitched at home versus Boston, you were in bed for 10 hours and 25 minutes. All right. So if you look, 10 hours, 25 minutes here, you were in bed. All right, that means you got 2 hours and 30 minutes of REM and 2 hours of deep, which your average of REM is something that we've been trying to improve about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. Well, that's way more. So I think that's a nugget. Like 10 hours and 25 minutes is a long time to be in bed, but I checked back, like usually you're up at 9 or so or whatever, and you're in bed like 7, 8 hours. Man, if we could get in bed a little bit longer, we're on to something big here, because that 2.5 hours of REM, 2 hours of deep, 4.5 hours of restorative sleep, once you really get your body moving and things, and that's where some of those days where you get all that restorative sleep, you kind of gotta get a little longer warm up or higher intensity warm up, where you just kind of go all out for maybe 60, 90 seconds on a bike or something. We're really trying to get the machine moving. But once you get that sweat in, you're alive and you got plenty of energy, and we can start to kind of extend those starts out, which is always good for our long-term quality. So that's something I really wanted to say is, man, stay in bed. All right, dude. I know sometimes on the road or wherever you want to hang out with the wife, whatever it is, but man, if you could just stay in bed as long as you can, literally just 10, 11, I think this is better for our all term. You guys pitch so later in the night, and it allows, basically we're off, and it keeps the machine off. Less BS in the head, more just kind of there. Then when you wake up, you kind of take a few hours to get the cobwebs out, but then we're ready to go. All right, so let's stay in bed, all right? And you can do that on every day, but any day. Like, the more the merrier. So, like, this will be something that we'll try to work on, but this is going to make us more durable and continue our success all throughout this season here. So I'm excited for that. Sleep in bed longer, better REM. And most of your REM sleep, a lot of it comes on the back end. So that's why we got 2.5 hours compared to your hour and a half, where you're only sleeping in bed 8 hours. So there you go. I think your sleep's at 80% for the month of July, which is right on that cusp. I like that, but I like 85%. All right. A little bit higher. I think, getting in bed longer is going to give us more sleep, better sleep performance, and that's off the Whoop data that I saw, but that's going to help big time. And I think, you sleep pretty well and consistently, but just this is just a kicker. Keep going. Keep doing it. I think the sky's the limit there, and you're only going to get more and more from it. Best way to recover is sleep well with higher quality. So I think that's another hammer here. Let's get that in bed. Let's do that, and I think good things are going to happen. Sleep's at 80%. Let's get it to 85 this month. Let's say, tighten it up a little bit more. Those routines, it's great. When things get, more, as the season goes, that's where you just really kind of just lean in on these routines and hammer home. So that's a big thing I think that was willing to stay, something that you can do. The other starts, you were in bed 8 hours. Didn't mean you didn't have good starts, but again, let's try to optimize. That's optimizing 101, all right? Stay in bed. All right, then I look at a few other things here. Flush cortisol I wrote out. Man, post starts ain't bad, but it's tough to go to sleep, and we get about 20 minutes of REM, all right? That ain't going to kill us, but long term, I'd rather you get more, because it's going to jumpstart our recovery and make you feel better, more intrinsic motivation, more desire to be better, and I think that helps long-term performance. So I'm going to get that REM up higher, all right? We've talked about some teas before, but basically flush cortisol. I researched some cortisol things and how to release it, and I think there's a few things we can learn here. Teas, all right? We already talked about it, but if you're not drinking them, start to drink them more consistently, especially after you start. Ashwagandha, lemon balm, camille, all good ones that we looked at. I think most of those ones we sent you kind of have those in it. Maybe make a double dose there, all right? But that will help, because that's a natural way to kind of help flush that out. Also, we never talked about eating post-start. I don't know what you're eating, but a lot of times omega-3s are big to it. I'm going to send you a list of foods. There's avocados, there's fish that you can kind of start to maybe eat post-start that will help us kind of calm the shit down, calm that engine a little bit. Again, because you just build up stress when you go and play, all right, in long term. And I think this is just one area we can hammer, but this will help with our long-term recovery. And again, we're trying to take a few extra days, on this season, and this is how we really crush all the way through season end is just by doing these little details. But I think we look into what we're eating after the start, because a lot of times we want to hydrate like a mother. So maybe 1 or 2 packets of salt, magnesium, and then we're looking at some high protein, high output there for the eating, and that's going to naturally calm us down as well. So look into your post-start eating. Maybe we dabble into that a little bit and we see what we got. All right, I know we sometimes have a glass of wine or something, but the alcohol usually doesn't help with the cortisol. But I think if something it doesn't, and next time you're in your home, you can come check me out. But I think, looking into maybe a CBD or THC option, maybe CBD because it just gives us a calming effect after. I saw with guys, I have some tinctures or some different types of like pills, but those are something that there's some really good quality ones out there, and CBD kind of doesn't give you any high with it. It just gives you kind of that calming, and we've seen some really good stuff on the data. But that's something where quality really matters. I have a brand that I use, but we can always meet up, in a week or two whenever you're here and dive into some more things there. But that's another option too outside of that. It might still give us a calming effect, but maybe replace the alcohol at times. Another thing I want to rip on here, overall is your recovery has been about 63% in July. All right, that's not bad. All right, but I like that to get into the 65, 70. All right, so that's just consistently. I think there's a couple things we can look at here, and that's the wellness situation. Like, hey, I know the Rays have a sauna. Kiermaier told me about it a couple years back. He wanted it, but I think they got one there. So use that thing a lot. Use it when you get to the field to get that initial sweat if you want. Use it post-start. Use it after you throw. Use it in the game. Like, I don't care. Get in that thing for 20, 30 minutes. Maybe get in it for 15, 20. Get a lather. Then go lay on your back for 5, 10 minutes. Do some deep, calm breathing, which will also calm that cortisol down. So more deep, calming breaths. And then jump back in for 15 minutes. Something that will boost that HRV and will boost that testosterone is in and out of that heat acclimatization. All right, there I just packed 20, 30 ounces of water with a hydration packet after, and you're ready to go. But let's add some sauna wellness in. So add that in a couple days a week, especially every day if you're on the road. But that's going to build durability in our immune system. Sauna. All right, cold therapy. I know you don't usually use it post-start, but I'd like you to try it because it's another way I think we could calm ourselves down. I finally got a couple of my guys to try it, and they love it now. But it's one of those where it's never ever easy at times, but again, sometimes you want to do things that you don't want to do. All right, but try that cold. And again, if you're using it a couple days a week, maybe some weeks go in it for 2-3 minutes. Dunk your head under. Maybe some days go longer. But again, use that when you feel a little off. Use that when you need some intrinsic vibe, because you get such a relief mentally, and you kind of just put in the present moment, which again is going to calm that little mind from running all over like Jesus. All right, that's just life. That's how we see it. All right, so that's the wellness side. I think we can wrap up into that recovery. Is like we're doing really well, but here are some areas we can kind of improve. I have one last thing, that is nature. Nature's another way to calm the mind. Getting some sunlight in the morning, obviously 10, 20 minutes is big, but then obviously in the PM too, trying to get out. But on those off days where you can actually go walk, get your butt outside a little bit too and take the wife, and that's another good way to kind of get that vibe going. But it keeps our peace of mind and builds that cortisol level down. So hopefully you took a few nuggets from here, but this is just a little rip. We can get in person and talk more or whatever, but this is just something I wanted to send you on the last 3 starts. So overall, let's sleep in bed. Let's stay in bed. Let's try to be in bed at least 9 hours. 10-25 is a long time, but more the merrier. 9+ I think is our goal there. That will boost our sleep up there. Recovery is going to go up higher as we keep kind of learning the ability to, enhance our sleep after post starts, which we can do with some of these, if it's teas, if it's how we're eating, if it's supplementation. But we're going to keep looking at that. And again, that's going to build durability, because again, I want 6 innings every start. We want to do all these great things. We're good. We're going to do some things on the front end to make sure that sauna, cold breathing, all those things are going to help you. All right, stay on that shit, especially when your brain's spinning or if you got a little anxiety in that body. Go hit it cold or hot. All right, bro. See you around.